Do you hate yourself? We all do at some point. But if you do, just remember that there are people that feel, despite being so close to finally doing something practically no one else can do, people that loop fail the easiest towers for hours, people that fail the last jump multiple times, list goes on. And it's all thanks to this beautiful game called Juke's Towers of Hell, where people ascend these cool or not so cool things called towers, and people spend hours, months, or even years falling and falling on these towers just to feel that brief feeling of satisfaction that will probably not even last a minute. My personal hell? Oh, it just started when I decided to try and unlock a new area that released in JTO called Singularity, and things were going smoothly, like when I disconnected on the last floor of not one tower, but 2 towers, having to traverse through the cockroach infested trash that is Zone 3, you know, the works. But it doesn't stop there, because after that I had to go through the pain of having this actually cool thing called a skill issue, which caused my grind to be haunted by loop failing hard, to the point where I literally stayed up until midnight on the supposed shortest tower of the zone. But bro still does not have Zone 9. So take a wild guess on what he did next.
You're so annoying. First tower of these last 10 pretties.
It was pretty decent, but of course, there were some difficulties. The client object in this tower seemed to be having a freaky party instead of actually working, which made it kind of hard to progress, and eventually prevented me from progressing entirely. You see, to get to the next floor, I needed to press these buttons attached to these hammers, but these hammers decided to not work, I guess, and it turns out I'm not the only one who is affected by this bug. So I basically got soft locked, and I had to wait. Before you restart your run, take a second to think that, can't you just fall back down to hit the buttons? So after I basically forced a progress loss onto my run, I eventually got both buttons and made my way up to the final floor where I won. Also, it was kind of sad how this music wasn't in sync with the timer, but whatever. This tower doesn't really look all that modern. Okay, so like, this tower is basically if you combined all those old Roblox adventure games into a tower, and this is what you get. I can't really have an opinion on this theme though, because like, the only game of that I played is that one game that DanTDM made a video on and never touched again. But overall, this tower had pretty much every element of the genre, from boss battles to these things, to a whole entire storyline about your relationship with this rando you found named
Tomás de la Torre,
who sends you to the dungeon. Yes, there is a dungeon where I got PTSD because I have like really bad experience with Nightlight, if you've played that before. And like every few seconds or so, I was expecting a jump scare. Anyways, at the end of the tower, there's this boss fight, something about sea levels, and then eventually
Tomás de la Torre,
falls to his knees and surrenders.
Yeah.
This tower is a cone. No way! Since you can't really fit all of this into a cone, it's basically one huge outside, except for this one floor, where you can see all the inner workings of the cone mesh. And there's this friendly little net that ascends every 3 floors or so to save your fall. And there's also this jelly bean with sunglasses who follows you throughout the tower, and this tower just felt like a fever dream, to be honest. By the end of the tower, we face the non-existent Wrath of Blaine before winning. Oh, and also Beast Swarm. This is one of those not so cool towers. Playing this just made me want to consider ending it all. This tower does not deserve to even be in this video with these buggy client objects that the developers didn't even bother to fix. I tried guides, but ademiere didn't even help. All he said is how good Tosaps was. This one actually helped me though, by giving 2 skips that saved a lot of time. Thank you so much, CRP. I won't say anything else, but if you're like,
No, this is my favorite intense.
first of all, there's no way in hell that you're saying a tower fixed with unfixed bugs is good. Second of all, no one agrees with you, so shut your little yapper up, because I do not want to hear it. I don't see any point to this tower. I don't. The name is Never Ending Fun, but yet there was no fun to begin with, so I don't get the point to it because it just felt like a filler intense. Like, look at this. Look at this design. Like, I bet someone could make this in freaking Arbitrator and it would look the same, maybe even better. Tonef as a whole just felt so forgettable. There just wasn't anything that felt unique about this tower, despite the fact that I failed the last jump not 1, not 2, but 3 times, and still whenever mentions Tower of Never Ending Fun, I'm like, don't you mean Tower of Never Ending Dizziness? Like, for real, who let this into the game? It's hella mid. This for real just looks like if Tower of Rough Endoplasmic Reticulum had a Discord light mode and a dark mode. And that's because this tower is based off bipolar disorder. I found this to also be a forgettable tower. I don't really know why. Like, when I was making this video, I completely forgot that this tower existed. LMAOzers, I really need to stop doing that. So basically, one half of this tower is all emo and dark, and the second half is all unicorns and rainbows, where you listen to this really annoying music because, I don't know, I guess the tower creator just has bad taste in music. God, I hate this tower. Oh, no, I mean, it's really good.
Hey, I say do something.
Booga booga!
TOOV is just like any other tower, except the frame curves, so you're basically over nothing for the later floors. Or so it seems. The thing that is missing from this tower, from all the other towers, with the other half being literally just, if you fall, you're dead, is the free adrenaline rush and heart attack, and it's all thanks to safety nets. I kind of enjoyed this tower. The gameplay and design is pretty different than anything I've seen before. The way this tower used the client objects was unique, and that's what made it really interesting. But what ruins everything is this morpher on floor 2. Like, why is it bouncing? It does not need to move like that, bro. Also, just a daily reminder that Fred is bad. Remember this tower? Fun times. So Totasm is basically its older brother. I was reluctant to play this tower after literally going through the sad excuse of a tower that is Tosaps, but surprisingly, Nenity actually made a decent tower. The tower further develops the mechanics used in Tosaps, and I just love how every floor has its own little theme. There's an incredible amount of mechanics, like this turret thing, these orbs that move your end. I don't know, I'm sounding like Donald Trump. Launchers and even lava. The tower is packed with loads of various ideas, minus the nasty gameplay from it was just a blast to play through. Each floor just has its own atmosphere, focusing on one mechanic. The gameplay was just smooth, consistent, and fun to play as a whole with all these varied styles and colors. It is probably my favorite tower in this video, and oh, it seems that my least favorite is the prequel. I'm grateful that Cancer's gameplay doesn't run in the family, at least.
Come, Magatsu Izanagi!
Never thought you would play as a broke, unemployed, pathetic loser who goes on a hunt for some random treasure they saw on TV in a mysterious pyramid that may or may not be haunted by spirits in Jato of all games, but here we are. Amazingly enough, this citadel also matches with the Jato lore, so I won't spoil the cool little ending for you guys. Basically, you are poor, and you need some good old treasure to sell so that you can be rich and get all the babes. But before that, we decide to raid this pyramid without researching anything else about it, which I think is a very safe and smart idea. On the first little layer here, we discover, oh, what a surprise! The pyramid is infested with fun, colorful spirits, and we need to traverse all the floors to collect these little guys. Of course, there's always that one emo roach baddie hiding somewhere of whom we find in the basement of the citadel. Cope made me have to cope with all these little items that is stuffed into my inventory, including a sword, a torch, and night vision goggles. Very interesting. When we find all these little creatures, they use their cool magical powers to bring us to the second layer of the pyramid, where we find them all again. After we find them again, we ascend to the third layer, which is just a huge, humongous outside before the final floor, where we have to collect 4 buttons to finally when I joined Zone 9, okay, just wow, like, I never knew y'all could for real cook in a studio like this, bro. I just couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't stop taking this in because this is probably one of the best builds in Roblox I've ever seen, next to the Mimic or something. Just wow, man, it's beautiful. Almost as beautiful as my inconsistent frame rates. And after all that, it was still worth it in the end. In my opinion.